Trent, hey, it's Emma Lawrence.
Hey Emma.
Is it fair to say it's been a pretty valuable week after that loss? Because I know in the past you've said you learn a hell of a lot more from losing than you do from winning.
Yeah, it's been sort of a month of learning for us. We've been, you do every week. If you want to improve, you better take your lessons out of all games. But we've played 1 and 2 in the last 2 games, and we've been well beaten, and we've understood some areas that we thought we were good at, and definitely some things we need to fix. So you pick up your lessons, you dust yourself off, and you move forward.
Do you think, particularly for, some of those young guys in your spine, that games like that can be the making of them because sometimes you need that to really grow into first graders?
Yeah, Emma, it hurts. That's what happens. It's when you play those games and you don't get to play the way that you want, it hurts, and it should hurt for all of us. So it is for young guys, but even experienced guys. You pick up your lessons, you understand what you need to do. But some guys, it's some of their first experiences in those situations. So always vital, but that's not something that we're going to pass off because of age. We expect better from ourselves, but that's about this week.
Victor's back as well, obviously, and knowing the type of player he is very energetic. He's going to want to make a difference. How do you make sure he keeps a lid on it and doesn't try and overplay his hand?
Well, I think Victor's, he's quite a unique player in the way that he plays the game. His subtlety, but then also his brutality that he plays with, and it's up to he's a smart enough guy to know how to balance that. He's had some really tough, sort of visual sanctions that have happened this year, both on and off the field, that say that you need to play and act in a certain way. So for us, can't wait to get him back out there. Can't wait to watch him play. He's one of those players that you gravitate to. You love watching play, and I love it when he plays with the purity of his style. So it's been enough time to deal with it, get back to training, and it's time for him just to slot back into his role in our team.
And you just mentioned his style. He said after he was suspended 5 weeks ago that he won't be changing his style. But as his coach, as his boss, what was your message to him before his return this week?
Yeah, I just allow himself to play. So those guys that play with an intensity, there's guys across the league that set their own intensity, and he's one of them. And I want him to play with intensity. I want him to play with his style of footy, which is he's had a physical tackling style for a long time. He's had an intensity of running the ball and short passing, and so I want him to get back to that. There's some fine tuning that needs to happen there, but he doesn't need to change who he is.
You just mentioned physicality. On the other end of the scale, Sam Walker has, I guess, learned the hard way of what it means to play in the NRL. How's he pulled up this week? Will he play against the Dogs?
Yeah, he's a tough kid. I think that's not the best way to ask that question about a young guy coming in and who took his physicality, didn't complain, got up and kept going. So he's going to keep doing that. He's a tough kid, and we shouldn't doubt him or even question him at his size playing, and he's only going to get better with that. So it's up to him to prove that. So people don't sort of keep asking questions in that way.
There was no disrespect to him, Robbo. He's a lot braver than I'd ever be, obviously, but I just mean that a lot of people have publicly said whether he should be rested and whatnot moving forward. But what is your view on that, given he has a really long, hopefully, career in this game?
I think we've shown that we've put him out there under pressure situations and then also rested him when needed. I think that's happened twice, I think, in maybe 10 games, and obviously we've had buys around that as well. So I think, we're looking after him, but we're also forming him in that way to get him out there and make him play.
Robbo, it's Fatima from the telly. How are you?
Good, Fatima. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. The other new face in your side is Billy Smith. Obviously, he's had a pretty horrid run with injury. What does it mean to you to be able to finally name him in your side?
Yeah, Billy's had a tough run. He obviously had a knee injury and then the shoulder injury in our pre-season camp. So it's been, it's been a long road back and a tough road for Billy. He's often been on the other side. He trains at 100%. I'll say it that way, and he constantly challenges our guys on the other side. And now it's his turn to challenge the guys in the other jerseys.
I also noticed that Joseph Sawali was named at 21. Is there a reason behind that?
Yeah, he's been named at 21 every single week. And I know I get asked about it, but it's also, the 17-year-old and the sponsorship of the jersey. You'll see him get named in 21 every single week until he's 18.
Okay, cool. Thanks for clearing that up. You mentioned, we were talking about Victor Radley before, and you not really wanting to change his style. He was actually on Roosters radio yesterday, I think it was. I heard him, and he was talking a little bit about his technique, and he sort of conceded that sometimes when he is under fatigue and, he takes those long strides, he feels like he loses his feet under him, and maybe that's where those, bad tackles are coming from. Is that something you've been working on with him?
Yeah, we've definitely talked about it. I think there's the coming back from the ACL that goes with that. So a guy that wants to change momentum and make a difference, he wants to get out ahead of the line to make a difference, but also the agility that comes with an ACL after only 12 months. So we're continuing to work on that.
Trent, just back to...
G'day, Trent. It's Adam Pengilly here, mate.
Hey, Ad. How are you?
Sorry, guys. Just quick one, mate. How's the week been with Fletcher and Brad in isolation? Obviously, briefly. How's the training schedule been? And have you got your head around everything you need to do this week?
Yeah, so we obviously missed a couple of days there at the start of the week. We obviously had Fletcher, who was at the Woolworths, that we had to cancel the session, and then we were on our way in, and then 15 minutes later, the Meriton Apartments outbreak happened as well, which put Brad under pressure, and had to go and get him to get a test, and we had to push the next day back again. So I think, we're allowed to continue to work. It's the difficulty of living in a hot spot and guys going about their normal lives, either going and living in the place that they're living or going to a shopping outlet to get some food. So, that's our boat at the moment. So it's thrown us out a little bit, but the guys have come in hungry to train. So when we got back on the park,
You're almost used to it now. It sort of seems that you've been in that area for a while now. You just adapt and just have to be as agile as you possibly can be.
Yeah, we've got to be careful about where we go, and even just getting a coffee or going to the shops, going shopping. You have to be careful. We're in a densely populated area. We're in the best area in Australia, so people want to live here and they want to socialise. So we've got to be careful about mixing and socialising in those densely populated areas. So they like to have fun in our area, so we've got to keep them locked down for another week.
Trent, you just said that Joseph will be named in jersey 21 from now until the end of the year. So will he play this week, or...?
We'll see. We'll see, Zach.
No scoops?
No scoops. No scoops. When they start telling me to name 17 on Tuesday, I'll start putting that out there.
Okay. And Kyle Flanagan will obviously come up against you guys, his old club, for the first time. Do you think... you speak to old players, and they always say when they played against their old club, there was always a bit of extra feeling. But do you think he'll have a point to prove this week?
I don't know, is my answer. I could imagine so. I could imagine, there was a bit of hurt there, and I understand that. But, I think whether it's us or them, we're trying to improve the footy that we're playing. So I think the motivation's quite clear on either side of the teams at the moment.
Robbo, just on back to all the COVID stuff and about socialising and being vigilant and the rest of it. Obviously, the Dragons have been in the headlines the last couple of days. What have you made of that whole situation, and are you happy with where the NRL landed on it?
Yeah, Fatima, I'd probably, I'll stay in my lane. I've talked a fair bit about stuff outside, but the NRL, they've made their decisions. I'll keep focused on the Roosters.
Do you feel for Anthony Griffin, who after telling his players not to do what they did, has now has his team in the next kind of month obliterated?
I'll stay focused on the Roosters, Fatima.
Okay, well, this is still sort of a Roosters question. Isaac
Okay.
Liu has signed with the Titans.
Yep.
In a team like yours, where there's a lot of superstars, sometimes guys like him, they're the unsung heroes of your team. Can you talk us through that move for Isaac and what loss it is for the Roosters?
Yeah, he's a superstar inside these walls, Ice. That's what he's been for such a long period of time. He's approaching 200 games for the club, and he's one of the family that's heading closer to home. So for him and his wife Jess, so it's really tough, and it's really awesome at the same time. We got to spend a lot of time and a lot of games together, and we're going to relish it right to the end. And the Titans have got a bloody good player.
Hey, Trent, it's Dre from Roosters Media, mate. How are you?
Hey, Dre, good to see you there, mate. I'll wave to you in your spot over there.
No, been a while.
How's things, mate?
Will you speak about the loss of Isaac? Pardon?
Yep. No, go on.
You speak about the loss of Isaac Liu. Obviously a sad one, but of Daniel Tupou and Lindsay Collins. I mean, how much morale boost is that throughout the week?
Well, that's I guess the opposite of Toops. The same guy. Toops and Ice are the silent heroes in our team, and to have Toops continue on, and he's an absolute credit to himself and his family and his culture and the way that he's played so consistently for so long. He's so to have him for another 2 years is great news for us. I love having him here. And Lindsay, he came down as a boy, and you can see him develop into the player that he is. And to have Lindsay on for, I think it was 4-year deal, it's pretty clear what we think of him and the way that he's playing and going to continue to develop. It's disappointing, the knee injury, but his job is to go and own that front row role for many years.
And you've also got, spoke about Billy Smith coming back in, but also Drew Hutchison coming into the six and Matt Butcher off the bench. I mean, I think you spoke about it last week, but, the cavalry sort of coming back, isn't it?
Yeah, it's up to us to put that on the park. They all play their different roles. So they've got tools. Butch, Drew, Rads, they've got tools that we need that really add value to the team. A bit like Ice and Toops that we talked about. Things that we really value. People value on the outside, but we really value on the inside. And we need to get them back working, and we need to work better together as a team to perform better. So their additions are going to be welcomed.
Trent, how excited do you get when Billy Smith I know we spoke about it before, about how he's looking forward to it and he's been through a lot, but when you see them go through that, do you feel that emotion too? How do you feel seeing someone finally get that chance again?
Yeah, it's he's a kid that sort of grew up in the area, and he's went to Scots, and he's one of the privileged white boys in our crew, coming through, and we have a laugh about that, but he's so hungry. To see someone so driven and so hungry, and we've had to live through the disappointment, and felt that. I remember when he did his knee at Penrith, and I remember when he did it on the field at training, and then I remember his shoulder up at camp, and that it hurts. It really hurts. Every team that sees someone go through that, they really suffer. So when you get to shake their hand and say you're in, it's more than just yeah, you know how hard they've worked, and it's really special. But it's about them to go and make it special. About them to get back to work.